What would make Canada a more united country?
It's hard to answer this question because I'm a French speaker. I'm a French Canadian from Quebec. Sometimes I'm part of Canada, but I feel like because we have a special culture, we have our own culture, like the Maritimes, and so to unify all these culture together, but we have to work on it because a nice country is a country where you can learn from the others. Like, I love to eat from everywhere. I like to travel everywhere in the world. So when I meet people from somewhere else, I like to learn from foreign. And I would like that all the Canadians would accept and learn from the other cultures so we can make one, just big one, to get all together.
That's a very good question. I think we have to have something to kind of believe in together, to fight for, right? So maybe it'll be climate change. Maybe it'll be, taking care of the residential school issue. Something that actually unites us as a people.
Once we sort of get to realize that we're all in the same boat together, we have to take care of our Indigenous community. It is super, super important. And we have to have just a sense of community. It can't be bipartisan. It can't be, this party versus that party. We really have to see ourselves as that wonderful country we really are. So.
Well, so the West and the East and the Center aren't all thinking differently, we need to just sort of squeeze a little together.
Reconciliation, of course. I think it's hard to be united when there's a history of genocide and violence against an entire population. So, of course, you can't be united until that's addressed, and not just addressed with words, addressed with actions.
Another thing is that I think that the government needs to be realistic in the way that they're dealing with Canadians. We definitely need to go to a knee standing in Canada, but it can't be done overnight. And the transition to get away from fossil fuels, it was going to take 10 to 12 years to even break ice on it. And if you happen to think that's ridiculous, try and live with the clothes without the clothes you're wearing on your back, because they're all made of petroleum.
A more united Canada, more traveling within Canada. If you travel from the West and stay in Quebec for a while, you'd end up with a different picture than if you never do.
Yeah, it would be good for Westerners to travel to Quebec and spend some time there. They don't have a good feeling about Quebec because they don't know it. And similarly for Quebec people who travel west. We once did immersion French in Chicoutimi, and the people we stayed with, it was a French family. We invited them to visit us in Saskatoon, and they said, well, we'd like to, but we're going to drive out. We don't know any English. How would we make out on the trip? So they never came.
Having come to Canada close on to 45 years ago, I've seen a lot of change, but I'd still like to see more inclusiveness and change. It's better than other places, but it certainly isn't at the best place.
Well, I think our Prime Minister is instrumental, and that depends on who we have as Prime Minister. At the moment, I think the West is being excluded a lot. I don't like to see that. We do need more unification, and Quebec has had a lot of attention, and perhaps it's time to shift it just a slight bit.
I think they should work towards everyone being fully vaccinated, respecting those that choose not to, and feel proud of ourselves that we've gotten through this pandemic, and just try to celebrate as a whole.
The virus has definitely started to divide the population. It's the same thing with the rich and the poor, and people that can afford things and people that can't afford things. Now the virus has become another division between people, vaccinated or unvaccinated. So.
I think just learning about each other more. There is a lot of, I feel, separation between communities, and a lot of stuff isn't being taught in schools, which causes that distinct separation. So I think if you teach people, like students when they're young, and they'll grow up understanding kind of each other more.
Regarding the pandemic, I think that it would be nice if we were more united from a federal standpoint as far as pandemic protocols. And why should one province put in like a scannable COVID app and not share it. I just find that kind of crazy that we wouldn't be sharing the technology from province to province, and I think that would unify us with our approach.
More understanding would make Canada a more united country as a whole. I think there's a lot of divide for many different reasons right now, and I think kindness and understanding would go a long way with us as a whole and bringing society one step closer to being together. So
reconciliation right now, no question. Where I come from, we're working really hard at trying to reconcile with the local Algonquin community, the Anishinaabe people, and it's so far from actually being in fruition. That's the big thing right now for me.
I know we don't have just the two political parties. We have all of these options, but unfortunately things are getting more and more divided instead of coming together, and it's really unfortunate that there isn't an answer for that question.
I think leadership that understands where everybody's at across the country. It's a big country with different regions and people with different situations in each region. So leadership that understands that is able to come up with solutions that appreciates where people are coming from and is able to and willing to not waffle but take my mask came off. Take the appropriate stance when required. So.
I don't know. There's so much right now, and I think there's just so much division in people, and just maybe if everyone just got off social media. I don't know. But it just seems like everyone's just upset at everyone, and either we need a common enemy or we just need to get over it. I don't know. That's a tough one.